If you've just joined us, welcome to it. We are still talking, adapting and really shifting our thinking and the ways we think about our career for future proofing. This, of course, on the backdrop of that World Economic Forum stat that suggested that 44% of the core skills required for jobs will change by 2027. And these AI-driven automation I suppose people look at them as threats, some look at them as opportunities, could threaten 300 million jobs globally. Joining us in studio, Willem, who is an entrepreneurial thinking expert. And we're going to be getting into, firstly, just looking at styling our mindset. I want to call it that. And then we're going to get into a 5-part active plan, right? Proactive approach towards making sure that we are really adapting to the ways that are now. And of course, holding true to self. Willem, completely off the side, completely off the rank. A lot of people do think that a lot of their behavioral practices define them and are sort of attached to their identity. I think that's a bit of a tricky one when you think. I don't think it seeps in greatly into the world of business, but I do think it does come into character and the way they deal with people. And it limits their ability to adapt to new spaces and states. What's your take on that?
Oh, absolutely. It does filter into it. How you do things at home is how you do things at work.
Okay.
It will filter through and vice versa.
Yeah.
And you have to, you have to understand that your thinking drives your actions and your actions lead to your results. And if you think of your results, ask yourself, what actions did I take to make that happen? And what was the underlying thinking? And I think you and I touched upon it earlier, metacognition, thinking about your thinking. And ask yourself at the end of the day, what was I thinking? Why was I thinking that? What drove those thoughts around that? Because we all have a perspective of something, a way that we think about things. And ask yourself, and I want the listeners to think about this as well. Think about your thoughts throughout today. How much of those were judgment? Of that person is this label, that person is that label, especially when we look at taxis and traffic and he drives like whatever the word that might be and everything else, and that shows you your thinking and how you compare the world as being wrong and I'm being right. Okay, instead of just that's how they do things, or what may I learn from this? Don't learn from the taxi driver. Just a joke. Okay?
Yeah.
Unless you want to become a race car driver.
Yeah.
But is there one way to raise a child? No. So I can learn from anybody else who has a child and they can learn from me. But that learning is a choice. And I have to make that choice. So I think the best way is to develop the practice of thinking about our thinking, to analyze and ask ourselves, how is this possibly impacting me negatively and those that I love and the place where I work?
Perhaps let's drive a bit further into that. When we have thoughts of change that come against who we think we are, how need we perceive who we are against what it is we do? Because thoughts will help you develop action. And if they're thoughts that tell you, but this is not what I do, because this is not who I am, and they hinder your action, perhaps we should create a difference in understanding between identity and what it is we do.
It's your cultural influence as well. This is how we are. We are not like that. And if I am that, then I'm apart from that, and that leads to loss and fear of rejection. So there's a lot attached to that. And it's about making a decision of not necessarily identifying with that.
Sure.
And stepping away from it You have to understand that if you make a change and you don't get pushback and people getting angry about it, are you really making a change, or are you just maintaining the status quo in a more fancy way?
Mm.
As a professional international speaker, I tell people if I don't get criticism and pushback, then I know I'm not doing impactful work.
Speaking about impact, let's talk about portfolio mindsets. The imperative nature of this model and why it proves to be resilient in most cases.
And portfolio is very interesting. It's about building multiple skills. Let me tell an interesting story. Imagine you are a box cutter, a knife in a toolbox, and the handyman opens the toolbox every now and then and he cuts something with it and he puts you back. He doesn't use you often.
Mm-hmm.
But later on, other devices start implementing that as well. Have you noticed that your kitchen scissors now has a bottle opener into it and everything else that goes with it? So your life as that box cutter is getting very lonely. And that portfolio mindset is to expand further onto that, is to become like a Swiss Army knife that has a screwdriver in it, a pair of scissors and everything else. And it's about becoming that Swiss Army knife of a human being in a specific field or direction where you want to head towards.
Sure.
And it's not about just learning things. It's about learning things that complement each other. That's a very important thing.
I find that more often than not, people develop horizontal or vertical skills only. So it's either I'm developing my competencies in a particular field and I am keeping to the updated version of whatever it is I need to learn. Perhaps in my field of practice, there's now AI being integrated. I'm learning that skill, but I'm forgetting the soft skills. That communication is different now.
Oh,
You
so
know,
much, yeah.
that I don't need to call you. I can text you on WhatsApp and that's okay. You know, there's soft skills that we're forgetting and we're focusing on these core competencies in a particular field, and then we get lost when we don't get picked for the next job, or when we fail to close a deal with a client because of that soft skill range that's missing. What's your take on that?
That is so true. And two things that you say there that sparked my interest. I found entrepreneurs usually go for breadth, and they spread themselves so thin that they lose their special talent that they brought to the business. While employed people really go for that specialization in a specific field, which makes them very fireable if that skill runs out of it. So it's and that's why I'm teaching entrepreneurial thinking in schools, universities, and businesses. It's to have striking a balance between the two. But if you look at that deep specialization, I know a graphic designer. They are spectacularly good at what they do, but they have international qualifications in UX, which is user interface design, and CX, which is customer experience, which is outside of that realm. So they understand the complete customer journey right through the organization down to the website. And that gives them a much better view of what value they can bring to the organization. Instead of just doing one thing, now they can understand the whole journey that goes with it.
Sure.
Yes.
Willem, I understand that you prepared a 5-step process.
Yes, absolutely.
For us.
Let's step right up, ladies and gentlemen. Get your 5 points today. Number 1 is learn a new skill every quarter. Every 90 days, learn a new skill. And if you think back to my 3 articles a day thing, that's 90, 3 times 90, that's quite a bit. That's 270 articles. But if you really do maybe papers, research papers on that, that's going to be beneficial. One thing that I love, you'll see a lot of people in the beginning of January read 52 books for the year. I'm like, no, don't listen to that, because you're not going to implement anything. Take one book that's really adjacent to your field of specialization that will complement it. So let's say you are a brilliant engineer, but you're struggling to communicate your brilliant projects to customers and management, read a book about storytelling. And read it over and over again for 3 months. And watch a few accompanying YouTubes that go with it. And then you start applying what those things are in your daily life. So as you talk to customers, you start implementing one thing that you learned about it. And you keep doing that. And next week you add a second thing. And the next week a third and fourth. And next thing you're a storyteller, engineer, that people go like, we love his projects. It's so inspirational. So learn one thing that you can do with that. Partner with AI instead of fearing it. Working with it. You have to, most people use artificial intelligence as the thought leader, and you are the follower. You need to be the thought leader, and it needs to be the follower. And a great way to learn AI is to ask it. Agents is a great way to get it to do work for you. So my one intern is starting, instead of them doing research in all the universities in one country, I'm getting an agent to research all the universities, all specific departments, and the people that work in them, their LinkedIn profiles. So now this intern can simply go and do the work. But that is a difficult instruction to give to an AI. So I work with the AI and ask, I want to get an agent to go and do this for me. Help me write this prompt. Ask me clarifying questions until we finalize this prompt. So I ask it to show me how to talk to it. And I ask it to guide me how to speak to it. And I start using that. And a great way to work with it is, number one, two pieces of advice. Ask it to be honest and critical, because otherwise it will just say yes to everything. And can you trust a yes man? No. And don't trust a yes AI as well. And second of all, just at the end, ask it, if you have any clarifying questions, ask one at a time. And then it will ask you questions that you didn't think about. Okay? Sure. And then it gets to that T shape. Build down and build wide as well. Be current on your specialization. Focus on your specialization. Make sure you don't fall behind, whatever that may be. But then look at the breadth. What are the complementary skills, like I just spoke about? This engineer is very good, but now he needs to learn storytelling, presentation, etc., etc., and look at things that go along with that. That's a very good thing. Create a portfolio of value. Develop multiple skills. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you this. The skills that you have at home, you can use at work. And the skills you have at work, you can use at home. I always tell people, make the joke, if you are a parent and you had 2 teenage kids in the house at the same time, you are a world expert at conflict resolution, and you can bill for that. Okay?
Okay.
So don't think all learning is work related. Learning in your home, if you can improve your communication at home and conflict resolution at home, that skill will show up at work as well. That is a very important thing. And then strengthen your meta skills. Start journaling. Become curious. How many people actually are curious? They just listen to tell you. Okay, I can't wait for Sheila to finish the sentence, because I have a sentence that starts with I. Well, I this and I that. My dad referred to them as eye specialists. Okay?
Yeah.
Create the skill of listening. When you get home from work and there's a breathing body in your house, okay, if it's somebody you love, even better, and try to listen to them for 5 minutes without interrupting them.
Sure.
And people don't do that. Get curious. Look at a child playing with Lego blocks. How can you become a child with Lego blocks again? And that comes to, and I love Dr. John DeMartini for this quote, the quality of your life is dependent on the quality of your questions. Going back to the point I made earlier about judgment, how much of our thoughts in a daily basis is based on judgment. Us, them, wrong, me, right, this. Ask questions. Instead of going like, oh, that, really? Is that how you cook a chicken? Okay?
Yeah.
You should go like, that's interesting. I've never cooked a chicken that way. What makes you cook a chicken this way? Oh, this, there. Then you understand the things and you can bring that into yourself as well.
Sure. Willem, we are time pressed. This is where we're going to end our conversation, but this was fruitful. Listen, I'm going to go back and listen to this so that I can suck out all the knowledge, especially that 5-step process that you just gave us. It is 53 minutes after 11 p.m. Central African time. If you have just joined us, thank you so much for choosing us over the rest. Don't leave. Okay, if you missed out on the conversation with Willem Gous, it will be readily available for you by tomorrow on YouTube under the video section. Be sure to find the twofold conversation that will be listed, as well as that conversation in the first hour with Nokuthula Gagaza, who joined us, giving us some very insightful info when it comes to dealing with failure and our relationship with failure. With that being said, we must say hello to Morris Touch of the Afro Republic, but we'll do this in a short bit.